Hello everyone. Tonight, let us travel back, far across time, to a land of wide rivers and endless plains, to a city once called Madinat al-Salam, the city of peace. The year is 762. Dawn spreads slowly over Mesopotamia. The air is dry, cool, and still. From the distance, you can hear the groan of camels, the creak of wooden wheels, and the steady voices of men at work. On the banks of the Tigris River, a vision is taking shape. The Caliph al-Mansur has ordered a new city to be built. Not just any city, but the very heart of his empire. Step closer. Watch the circle rise from the earth. Perfectly planned, vast walls stretching high into the morning sky. For mighty gates, each opening to the world beyond, toward Kufa, toward Basra, toward Khorasan, toward Syria. Inside, palaces climb upward with domes of shining gold. Mosques echo softly with the call to prayer. Gardens bloom with roses and jasmine, and fountains sparkle in the sunlight. As the years pass, the streets begin to fill. Merchants arrive from every direction. Silks shimmer in the stalls, brought overland from China. Spices fill the air, cinnamon, pepper, cardamom, traveling from the ports of India. Caravans bring ivory, furs, and amber. Gold and silver clink in the hands of traders. Children laugh as they chase each other through narrow alleys. Bakers carry trays of warm bread, steam rising into the morning. Fishermen drag nets heavy with silver fish from the Tigris. Calligraphers sit cross-legged, their reeds scratching across parchment. And in shaded courtyards, scholars gather, robes flowing, voices calm. At the heart of it all stands the House of Wisdom, Beit al-Hikmah. Within its walls, knowledge whispers. Scrolls and books fill the shelves, Greek philosophy, Persian medicine, Indian mathematics. By candlelight, translators bend low, their voices soft. Words once spoken by Aristotle, Plato, and Galen now flow in Arabic. The scratching of pens is steady, unhurried. 1,000 years before your own time, ideas are being carried forward into the future. Outside, the city glows. Markets hum with voices in many tongues. Perfume sellers display rosewater, musk, and ambergris. Dyers hang cloth colored deep indigo, bright crimson, brilliant saffron. The air is heavy with the smell of bread, roasted lamb, and honey cakes. Time itself feels slower here. Life repeats gently, day after day, under the rising and setting sun. Baghdad, the city of peace. A place where river water sparkles. Where libraries burn with candlelight. Where the world gathers. And history waits quietly to be remembered. The city grows. Year after year, Baghdad shines brighter. The river Tigris carries boats heavy with goods, dates, wheat, pottery, fabrics. Bridges stretch across the water, their stones warmed by the sun. And every morning, the streets awaken slowly, as if breathing with the rhythm of the earth. The call to prayer rises at dawn. Shadows retreat, the light spills over the domes and courtyards. Merchants unlock their shops, rolling up wooden shutters. Children run barefoot to fetch water from the wells. The hum of life returns, steady and unbroken. Inside the House of Wisdom, the work continues. Tables are crowded with parchment and ink. One scholar carefully studies the stars, charting their patterns on a smooth sheet of vellum. Another bends over numbers, lines of equations unfolding like quiet poetry. The air smells faintly of wax and smoke, the glow of hundreds of candles flickering against the shelves. In another corner, a translator whispers the words of Hippocrates, ancient Greek medicine now reborn in Arabic. Nearby, a mathematician sketches symbols, explaining new methods of calculation. A student listens carefully, his eyes wide, his reed pen trembling in his hand. Beyond the library, the city is alive. In the markets, voices rise and fall like waves. A Persian trader arranges carpets, their patterns twisting in red and gold. An Indian merchant unwraps jars of spice, filling the air with the sharp bite of pepper. From the north, a Turk leads horses, their hooves striking the stone streets. The colors are endless. The smells are rich. The sounds are constant. But Baghdad is not only wealth and trade. It is also poetry, music, and thought. In quiet rooms, poets recite verses under the glow of oil lamps. Words fall softly, about love, about longing, about the turning of time. Musicians pluck strings, the notes carrying into the night air. And storytellers speak slowly, spinning tales of kings, deserts, and distant seas. Yet even in greatness, shadows linger. At the edge of the empire, distant enemies move. Armies gather beyond the horizon. Rival caliphs whisper against each other. The city, so full of light, does not yet see the clouds that gather far away. For now, though, Baghdad remains. A circle of stone and water. A city of markets, gardens, and libraries. The center of a world where knowledge grows. Where life repeats gently, day after day. And where the candles still burn, late into the night. The years continue to pass. Seasons come and go over the banks of the Tigris. The markets remain busy, the mosques remain full, the libraries glow with candlelight. But in the distance, faint tremors begin to stir. The great Abbasid Empire, once unshakable, begins to split at the edges. Governors in faraway provinces grow strong. Armies in distant lands obey new leaders, not the caliph. Caravan routes shift, gold flows less freely, and whispers of rebellion drift across the desert winds. Still, inside the city, life continues. A baker kneads dough as he has always done. A fisherman casts his net into the river at dawn. A scholar bends over his manuscripts, carefully tracing letters by candlelight. For the people of Baghdad, each day feels eternal. The decline is slow, almost invisible, like the gentle dimming of a flame. The house of wisdom still stands. Inside, knowledge multiplies. Students recite lessons in low voices. Astronomers chart the stars with careful precision. Doctors study the body, writing remedies for fevers and wounds. The scratching of pens is steady, unbroken, like the beating of a heart. But beyond the walls, storms gather. In the west, rivals claim the title of caliph. In the east, new powers rise, Turks, Persians, Mongols, each testing the strength of the empire. And as armies march across the world, Baghdad begins to feel the weight of change. The first cracks appear quietly. Taxes grow heavier. Merchants complain of lost trade. The river floods one year, leaving the streets muddy and broken. Another year, drought leaves the fields dry and empty. Yet the people endure. Evening falls, and families gather around oil lamps. Mothers tell stories to their children. Fathers speak of the old days, when Baghdad was new and shining. The call to prayer rises again, unbroken, soft against the night sky. For now, the city still breathes. Its streets are alive, its markets still full, its libraries still glowing. But the shadows at the edge grow darker. And though Baghdad does not yet know it, the greatest storm in its history waits just beyond the horizon. The century turns. The great city of Baghdad still stands, its walls strong, its domes glittering in the sun. But the strength inside is not what it once was. The Abbasid caliphs remain in their palaces, but their power no longer stretches across the world. Beyond the horizon, new rulers rise, new armies march, and the balance of power shifts slowly, like sand carried by the wind. Inside the city, life continues, calm and unbroken. Merchants still set up stalls at dawn. The smell of fresh bread drifts from the ovens. Children chase each other in narrow streets, laughing as they always have. Fishermen still throw their nets into the Tigris, pulling silver fish from the water. And in the house of wisdom, scholars still lean over their books, writing slowly under the dim glow of lamps. But beneath the surface, things have changed. Caravans arrive less often. The markets are quieter, the colors not as bright. Taxes grow heavier, and common people complain in hushed tones. The empire, once vast and united, has broken into fragments. The caliph rules in name, but real power lies in the hands of others. And far away, beyond deserts and mountains, a new force is rising. The Mongols. Steppe riders with swift horses, hardened by endless winds, trained in war from childhood. They move like shadows across the land, their banners carried by the cold northern air. Stories of their victories travel slowly, whispered from caravan to caravan. Some laugh at the tales, calling them exaggerations. Others grow silent, uneasy, sensing that change is near. In Baghdad, the people carry on. An old man sits at a tea stall, his beard white, his hands trembling as he lifts the cup. He remembers better days, when the city glowed with wealth and travelers poured in from every land. A poet still recites verses in a quiet room, though fewer listeners gather now. The streets still echo with prayer, but the voices are softer, less certain. At night, the Tigris flows quietly under the moonlight. The water reflects the domes and minarets, the glow of lamps flickering along the riverbank. From the walls, guards watch the horizon, though nothing stirs in the distance. The city sleeps, unaware of what is coming. The storm is moving closer. And soon, Baghdad, the city of peace, will stand face to face with its greatest trial. The year is 1257. Winter winds sweep across the steppe. Snow falls quietly over the Mongol camps, covering horses, tents, and weapons in a pale, endless white. And at the center of it all stands Hulagu Khan, grandson of Genghis, leader of armies that stretch farther than the eye can see. He gives a simple command. The riders move. Tens of thousands of hooves thunder across frozen earth. Banners snap in the wind, black and red against the gray sky. The army turns west, toward Mesopotamia, toward the city of peace. In Baghdad, The days pass slowly, almost unchanged. Merchants still open their shops at dawn. The call to prayer still rises from the mosques. Children still run barefoot in the dust. The river still flows, quiet and endless, as it always has. But whispers travel with the caravans. Stories of Mongol armies swallowing cities whole. Tales of fortresses reduced to ash. Villages swept away like sand in a storm. Some laugh, refusing to believe. Others fall silent, unease settling deep into their hearts. The Caliph, Al-Mustasim, remains in his palace. The golden dome still gleams in the sunlight, but his court is filled with fear. Advisors argue in hushed tones. Some call for resistance. Others urge negotiation. But the city is not prepared. Its walls, though tall, are old. Its soldiers, though loyal, are few. And its spirit, though proud, has grown fragile. At night, the streets are quieter than before. Oil lamps flicker in the windows. Families gather close, speaking softly. An old woman prays, her hands trembling. A young boy stares at the sky, where stars glitter cold and clear, unaware of the storm moving ever closer. Beyond the horizon, the Mongols march. Their camps spread like dark stains across the land. Fires burn through the night, their glow rising into the air like 1,000 red stars. The ground shakes with the weight of their armies. And with each passing day, the distance between them and Baghdad grows smaller. The city still sleeps, but not peacefully. The river flows, the candles burn, the prayers rise. Yet beneath it all, the people feel it. A silence, heavy and waiting. A silence before the gates of the city of peace are tested as they have never been before. The year is 1258. Winter hangs heavy over Mesopotamia. The Tigris flows slowly, its waters dark under a pale gray sky. And beyond the walls of Baghdad, the earth begins to tremble. The Mongols have arrived. Tens of thousands of riders, stretching farther than the eye can see. Their horses breathe mist into the cold air. Their banners rise high, snapping softly in the wind. Around the city, they spread like a tide, surrounding Baghdad from every side. Inside the walls, silence falls. The markets are empty. Shutters are closed. Streets that once hummed with voices now echo with fear. Families huddle together in dim rooms, listening for sounds beyond the gates. At the palace, the Caliph remains uncertain. He walks through long halls lit only by flickering lamps. His advisors argue, their voices sharp, their faces pale. Some say, "We must resist. The walls will protect us." Others whisper, "Send envoys. Beg for peace." But no decision is enough. The Mongols wait patiently, their campfires glowing like stars scattered across the dark earth. From the walls, guards watch the horizon. They see tents stretching endlessly, smoke rising into the cold sky. They hear the faint sounds of drums, the calls of soldiers, the restless movement of horses. Each night, the fires burn. Each morning, the siege grows tighter. Food becomes scarce. The markets hold no grain, no fruit, no meat. Mothers hold children close, trying to quiet their hunger. The call to prayer still rises, but the voices are softer now, weighed down by fear. In the house of wisdom, the candles still burn. A few scholars remain, writing, copying, whispering. They know what is coming, though they cannot stop it. Their pens scratch slowly, as if racing against time itself. Scrolls and books lie stacked in piles, fragile treasures waiting in silence. Days pass. The Mongols build their machines, catapults, towers, rams. Wood creaks, ropes tighten, stones are prepared. The sound carries across the fields, a steady rhythm of war. Inside the city, people wait. The walls are tall, but the fear is taller. Baghdad, once the city of peace, now sits in stillness. The river flows. The lamps flicker. The people pray. And beyond the gates, the stone waits to break. The days grow shorter. The nights are filled with firelight from the Mongol camps. And at last, the silence breaks. A deep sound rolls across the plain. The first stones are hurled. Catapults creak and snap, their arms swinging slowly, sending boulders crashing against the walls of Baghdad. The ground shakes with every strike. Dust falls from the old stones. Guards on the ramparts clutch their spears, staring into the dark horizon where the machines rise and fall in rhythm. Inside the city, people awaken to the sound. Mothers press their children close. Merchants who once shouted prices now sit silently in shuttered shops. The streets, once full of color and music, echo with the steady pounding of war. Days pass, and the blows continue. Each sunrise brings more stones, more fire. Wooden towers inch closer to the walls, pushed forward on heavy wheels. Arrows whistle through the air, striking shields and stone. The defenders fire back, but the tide is too great. The walls groan beneath the weight of the assault. In the palace, the caliph walks the marble halls, his steps slow, uncertain. Messengers rush in with news. Another gate threatened. Another tower burning. Another part of the wall trembling. Advisors whisper nervously. Some plead for surrender. Others cry for resistance. The night stretches long, filled with arguments that bring no answer. Meanwhile, the house of wisdom still flickers with candlelight. A few scholars remain, clutching their manuscripts as if words might shield the city. One copies a verse slowly, his hand shaking. Another gathers scrolls, stacking them carefully, though he knows they may not survive. The scratching of pens continues, quiet and steady, against the distant roar of war. Outside, the Mongols work without pause. Their camp is endless, fires burning, horses tied in long rows, soldiers sharpening blades. The air is heavy with smoke, dust, and the smell of wood and iron. Each night, the drums beat softly, steady as a heartbeat. And each morning, the walls of Baghdad grow weaker. The people wait. Some pray, their voices trembling in the mosques. Some hide, silent in their homes. Some stand on the walls, staring into the horizon with tired eyes. Baghdad, once the shining city of peace, now shakes beneath the storm. The river still flows, calm and endless. The stars still glitter cold above the dark sky. But within the walls, hope flickers like a candle in the wind. The days of pounding do not end. Each sunrise, more stones crash against the walls. Each sunset, the city grows weaker. And then, at last, the moment comes. A section of the wall shudders. Stone cracks. Dust rises into the gray sky. With a final thunderous sound, the wall gives way. A gap yawns open where once there was strength. The Mongols move forward. Slowly, steadily, their riders enter through the broken gate. Horses' hooves strike against fallen stone. Shields glimmer in the pale light. Banners rise above the smoke. Inside the city, fear spreads like fire. Families abandon their homes, seeking safety where none can be found. Shops stand empty, their doors swinging in the wind. Children cry in the narrow alleys, their voices lost in the chaos. The palace trembles with confusion. The caliph retreats deeper into his halls. Advisors speak quickly, their words tripping over one another. Some urge surrender, their faces pale. Others demand resistance, their hands shaking on the hilts of their swords. But outside, the enemy no longer waits. The gates are open, the storm has entered. The House of Wisdom flickers with its final candlelight. Scrolls lie scattered on the floors. Some scholars clutch their books to their chests. Others sit in silence, staring at the walls as the sound of battle grows nearer. Knowledge that took centuries to gather now stands on the edge of disappearance. In the streets, the people scatter. Some hide behind doors. Some run toward the mosques, their prayers rising desperately. Some stand frozen, unable to move, as the sound of iron and hoofbeats grows louder. The Tigris flows on, silent and steady, its waters dark beneath the fading light. Above, the stars begin to appear, cold and indifferent. The city that once called itself the heart of the world is breaking, stone by stone, street by street. Baghdad, the city of peace, has opened to the storm. And nothing will ever be the same again. The gates are broken. The riders have entered. Baghdad, the city of peace, trembles beneath the sound of hooves and steel. The streets that once sang with merchants' voices now echo with silence. Shutters hang loose from windows. Stalls stand overturned, their spices scattered into the dust. Bright cloth, once folded neatly, lies trampled underfoot. The smell of smoke drifts through the air, heavy and sharp. In the House of Wisdom, the final pages turn. Scrolls fall from shelves, their ink fading into the dirt. Candles flicker, then die, one by one. The murmur of scholars, the scratch of pens, the whispers of translation, all grow quiet. Centuries of knowledge, gathered with care, now vanish in the space of days. At the palace, the golden dome glimmers faintly, though the halls below are filled with fear. The caliph walks slowly, his footsteps hollow on the marble floor. Outside his gates, the city burns. Inside, his power is gone. The empire that stretched across the world now narrows to these final rooms, this final hour. In the mosques, prayers continue. Soft voices rise into the smoke, steady even as the walls shake. Men, women, children kneel together, whispering words that drift upward like fading sparks. Faith remains, though the city falls. By the river, the Tigris flows on. Its waters turn dark, carrying fragments of parchment, broken wood, shards of memory. Some say the river runs black with ink, as the works of scholars are thrown into its depths. Others say it runs red with blood, reflecting the cost of conquest. But the river does not speak. It flows as it always has, endless, silent, indifferent. Night falls over Baghdad. Fires glow against the horizon, shadows flicker along the walls. The stars glitter above, cold and steady, watching the city below. What was once the brightest light of the world now lies dimmed, almost extinguished. Baghdad, the heart of knowledge, the jewel of the Tigris, has fallen. The city of peace is silent. The fires burn for many days. Smoke drifts above the city, curling into the gray sky. Streets lie empty, silent except for the crackle of wood and the distant cry of a bird. Where once there was laughter, there is only quiet. Where once there was trade, there is only dust. The house of wisdom is no more. Its shelves are broken, its scrolls scattered. The voices that once filled its halls, philosophers, poets, physicians, mathematicians, are gone. The ink of centuries has faded into the river. The silence that follows is heavy, unbroken, endless. The palace stands hollow. Its golden dome still shines faintly in the sunlight, but within, the chambers are deserted. The long halls echo only with emptiness. The caliphate, which had once stretched across deserts and seas, lies in ruin. And yet, life does not end. In hidden corners, families remain. Children still cling to their mothers' robes. Fathers gather what little they can. A pot of water, a scrap of bread, a memory of days before. They survive, though the city around them has fallen. The mosques still stand. From their minarets, the call to prayer rises once more. Fainter than before, softer, trembling, yet still alive. Faith lingers, even when empires collapse. Hope flickers, even when knowledge burns. By the river, the Tigris flows. It carries away the ashes, the fragments, the forgotten names. Its waters are calm, steady, eternal. It does not pause for victory, nor does it mourn defeat. It simply flows, as it always has, past broken walls and silent streets. The stars return each night. Cold, steady, untouched by fire or smoke. They watch as Baghdad lies in ruin, as silence spreads across the land. And still they shine, as they did before, as they will after. History moves slowly. Cities rise, and cities fall. Knowledge grows, and knowledge is lost. Peace comes, and peace fades. Baghdad, the city of peace, once the heart of the world, now lies quiet. But its memory remains. In stories whispered across generations. In ruins that still stand on the banks of the Tigris. In the lessons that history leaves behind. That greatness is fragile. That time spares no empire. That silence follows even the loudest voices. And so, the tale ends. The river flows. The candles burn no more. And the city of peace sleeps in the long night of history. Hello everyone. Tonight, let us travel even further back in time. Beyond empires and beyond kingdoms, into the desert sands of ancient Egypt. A land where the river Nile flows steady, where the sun rises golden each morning, and where stone monuments reach upward toward the sky. Close your eyes. Feel the heat of the desert sun on your face. Hear the gentle splash of water as the Nile drifts past. Smell the dry air, carrying the faint scent of papyrus and grain. It is more than 4,000 years ago, and the first stones of the pyramids are being laid. The workers rise at dawn. Their sandals press into the sand as they walk toward the quarries. Hammers strike stone, slow and steady. Wooden sleds creak under the weight of limestone blocks. Voices call out in rhythm, hundreds of men pulling together, step by step, across the desert plain. The pyramids rise slowly. Day after day, year after year. The sun sets, the moon glows, the stars glitter cold above the desert. And still the stones move, upward, higher, reaching toward eternity. At the river's edge, life flows gently. Farmers tend to the fields, the floodwaters of the Nile bringing fertile soil. Children play near the reeds, their laughter soft against the hum of insects. Fishermen cast nets, pulling shimmering fish into their boats. Priests walk through temple courtyards, their chants echoing softly against the stone columns. The pyramid stands, unfinished, yet already towering above the earth. Shadows stretch across the sand as the sun dips low. Torches flicker in the workers' hands as they set down their tools for the night. The desert grows quiet. The stars appear, one by one, glittering over the silent stone. The work will continue tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. For generations. The pyramid is not only stone. It is memory. It is faith. It is the dream of eternity, carved into the heart of the desert. The sun rises once more over the desert. The sky glows pink, then gold, then white with heat. The workers return to their tasks, their shadows long across the sand. Stone after stone is cut, shaped, and moved. The sound of chisels rings softly, steady and endless. Scribes sit under shaded tents, recording the work on sheets of papyrus. Their pens move slowly, carefully, each line capturing the passing of days. The overseers call out instructions, their voices calm, their gestures measured. The rhythm of labor continues, unbroken by time. Along the Nile, boats drift silently. They carry heavy blocks of granite from Aswan, floating slowly with the current. The oars dip in and out of the water, steady as a heartbeat. At the river's edge, farmers tend to wheat and barley, the soil rich from the annual flood. Children gather reeds, weaving baskets with small, patient hands. The pyramid rises higher. From a distance, it gleams white under the sun, the limestone smooth and bright. Its shadow stretches across the desert floor, long and sharp, like a sundial measuring eternity. Priests walk through temple courtyards, their voices low, chanting prayers to the gods. Incense drifts into the air, the scent of resin and smoke curling upward. They speak of Ra, the sun god, who sails across the sky each day. They speak of Osiris, lord of the underworld, who waits in silence beyond death. The pyramid is built for both, the sun above and the eternal darkness below. As night falls, the desert cools. The stars appear, scattered across the sky in patterns unchanging. Workers lie down on mats, their bodies tired but their hearts steady. The wind moves softly through the sand, whispering against the stones. The pyramid stands taller now, its shape clear against the horizon, its tip reaching higher into the endless night. Generations will pass before it is finished. But the work does not stop. It is slow, steady, eternal, like the river, like the stars, like time itself. The years pass slowly. Seasons change over the Nile, flood and drought, sowing and harvest. And still, the work continues. Stone after stone is raised higher. The ramps stretch longer, winding around the pyramid like a snake of sand and wood. Workers pull together, their chants rising in rhythm with their footsteps. The air is filled with the sound of effort, ropes straining, sledges grinding, voices calling in unison. In the villages nearby, life flows with the river. Farmers rise with the dawn, guiding oxen through the fields. Children carry jars of water, their laughter light against the hum of cicadas. Mothers grind grain into flour, the steady turning of stones filling the air with a low, soft rhythm. At the construction site, overseers mark progress with wooden rods. Each level climbs closer to the sky. The limestone shines under the sun, blinding white, a beacon in the desert. Travelers from distant lands stop in awe, staring at the monument that grows each year, higher and stronger. Priests continue their prayers. In temples, incense smolders in bronze bowls. The smoke curls upward, vanishing into the vast, hot air. They speak of kings who will rest forever in chambers of stone. They speak of the journey of the soul, carried beyond death into eternal fields of peace. As night falls, the desert cools. Workers sleep under the stars, their bodies weary but their spirits calm. The pyramid looms above them, silent and immense, its shadow stretching into the darkness. The stars glitter, cold and steady, their patterns reflected in the shape of the pyramid itself. Some say it was built to mirror the heavens, each stone a prayer carved into the earth. Generations come and go. Fathers teach sons, who take up the same tools, pulling the same ropes, walking the same paths. The work never ends, yet the pyramid rises slowly, patiently, into the endless sky. The pyramid nears completion. Its sides are smooth, its peak rises sharply into the endless sky. The workers, generation after generation, have given their days and nights to this mountain of stone. Now, at last, the final blocks are placed. The ramps are taken down. The desert reveals a shape that will remain for thousands of years. Inside, the chambers lie waiting. Corridors stretch narrow and dark, carved deep into the stone. The air is cool, heavy with silence. Rooms stand empty, prepared for treasures that will one day be sealed away. Gold, ivory, fine linens, jars of oil and wine, all offerings for a king's eternal rest. At the heart lies the burial chamber. A stone sarcophagus waits in the center, massive and cold. Above it, the weight of millions of stones presses down, silent and unyielding. Here the pharaoh will sleep forever, his body preserved, his soul believed to journey toward the stars. Outside, the desert wind moves slowly. Sand drifts against the base of the pyramid, piling in soft curves. The sun climbs high, casting sharp shadows against the stone. From a distance, the pyramid gleams, its limestone shining like a mirror beneath the sky. The priests chant their prayers. In temples along the Nile, hymns rise with the smoke of incense. They speak of eternity, of the sun rising and setting without end, of kings who become gods in the afterlife. The pyramid is their monument, their bridge between earth and heaven. Life continues around it. Farmers still tend their fields. Children still play by the river. Fishermen still cast their nets into the Nile. The world moves forward, slow and steady, as it always has. But the pyramid does not change. It stands, silent and unmoving, through heat and storm, through day and night. Generations will pass, dynasties will rise and fall, yet the stones will remain. As evening comes, the desert cools. The pyramid glows faintly under the setting sun, its shadow stretching far across the sand. The stars appear, bright and unchanging, above the silent monument. And in that stillness, time itself seems to pause. The pyramid sleeps. And with it, the dream of eternity carved into stone. Centuries pass. The kings who ordered the pyramids are long gone. New rulers come, and new dynasties rise along the banks of the Nile. But the pyramids remain. Sand drifts slowly against their sides. The desert wind moves endlessly, carrying grains of dust across the stones. The smooth limestone begins to fade, its shine dulled by time. But still, the great shapes stand, tall and silent against the horizon. Travelers arrive from distant lands. They stop, staring at the massive monuments. Some whisper that giants must have built them. Others believe they were raised by gods. Few can imagine that thousands of ordinary workers, with patience and time, placed each stone one by one. The villages nearby continue their simple rhythm. Farmers guide their plows through the fertile soil. Boats drift along the Nile, their sails catching the wind. Children play in the fields, their laughter rising softly in the air. Life moves forward, while the pyramids remain behind, frozen in silence. Priests still visit the temples, though the old gods are whispered less often. The prayers grow fainter, the incense burns slower. Yet the pyramids remain, watching as faith changes, as kings are forgotten, as centuries roll past like the river's endless current. At night, the desert grows cold. The stars shine above, the same stars that glittered when the first stones were laid. Their light touches the peaks of the pyramids, turning them silver in the darkness. The monuments sleep, as they have always slept, unmoving, eternal. Travelers climb their sides, leaving marks that fade with time. Kings come and go. Wars pass. Empires crumble. But the pyramids endure, steady and silent, against the flowing sands of history. The desert does not hurry. The river does not stop. The pyramids do not fall. They stand, waiting, through the long silence of time. Time drifts forward. The kings of Egypt are no more. The temples grow quiet, their statues worn by sand and wind. And still, the pyramids stand. Far away, new empires rise. The Greeks sail across the sea. They step onto the banks of the Nile, their eyes wide with wonder. They see the pyramids rising above the desert, higher than anything they have ever known. They write of them in scrolls, calling them one of the 7 wonders of the world. Years pass again, and the Romans come. Their soldiers march along the river. Their poets speak of the pyramids with awe. They measure the stones, they trace the edges, yet they cannot imagine the endless years of labor it took to build them. To them, the pyramids are eternal, a mystery carved into the desert. The Nile continues its slow rhythm. Each year it floods, each year it retreats. Fields grow green, then dry, then green again. Children are born, grow old, and are buried in the same soil their ancestors tilled. But above it all, the pyramids remain, watching silently. The desert shifts around them. Sand piles against their bases. Storms strip away the smooth white limestone, revealing the rougher stone beneath. Yet the shape does not fade. Sharp lines cut into the horizon. Shadows stretch long across the sand. At night, torches flicker at their feet as travelers camp nearby. Stories are told in quiet voices, of kings who wished to live forever, of secrets hidden inside the stone, of treasures buried deep where no one can reach. The stars shine above, the same stars that guided the first builders. The pyramids reflect their cold light, silent, unmoving, timeless. Empires change. Languages change. Beliefs change. But the pyramids do not. They stand, patient and eternal, as centuries drift past like the slow waters of the Nile. The centuries roll on. The Greeks are gone. The Romans are gone. And still, the pyramids stand, silent against the shifting desert. Now travelers come from the lands of Arabia. Merchants, pilgrims, and scholars cross the sands and reach the Nile. They look up at the towering monuments, half buried in drifting dunes. Their smooth limestone casing is nearly gone. The desert has begun to claim them, wrapping their bases in soft, golden sand. Writers describe them in quiet wonder. Some say they are tombs of ancient kings. Others believe they are granaries, vast storehouses for forgotten empires. A few whisper of hidden chambers filled with gold and treasures, sealed away forever. No one knows for certain. The pyramids do not answer. They only stand, as they always have. In the villages nearby, life remains simple. Farmers lead oxen through the fields, sowing grain into the damp soil. The Nile floods and recedes, year after year, bringing life to the land. Children run along its banks, laughing as they splash in the shallow water. The cycle continues, as steady as the river itself. At night, the pyramids lie under the stars. Their sharp edges softened by centuries of sand and wind. Torches of travelers glow faintly at their feet, small lights against the vast darkness of the desert. Stories are told around the fire. Of spirits who guard the tombs. Of curses on those who dare to enter. Of kings who still sleep within, waiting to rise again. The pyramids listen in silence. They do not move. They do not change. They only keep their secrets, holding them tight within their chambers of stone. Empires fall. New faiths spread. The world shifts and changes, but the pyramids remain. Half buried, half forgotten, yet always there. Enduring, unbroken, patient as time itself. The Middle Ages draw to a close. Across the seas, Europe begins to stir. And once again, travelers set their eyes on the land of the Nile. They come on slow ships, their sails heavy with wind. They step onto the riverbanks, their boots sinking into the soft soil. And when they look up, they see them. The pyramids, rising above the desert, half buried in sand, yet still vast, still silent. Writers put pen to paper, describing their wonder. Some sketch the stones carefully, measuring each angle, each shadow. Others simply stare, unable to find words. They call them ancient beyond imagination, older than empires, older than memory itself. In the villages nearby, life continues unchanged. Farmers carry baskets of grain on their shoulders. Boats drift along the Nile, their sails white against the blue sky. Children chase goats through narrow lanes, their laughter carrying across the fields. The pyramids stand beyond it all, watching quietly, as if outside the flow of time. Scholars argue about their purpose. Some believe they were tombs, filled with kings and treasures. Others claim they were temples to forgotten gods. A few even imagine that they were built by civilizations long vanished from the earth. But the pyramids remain silent, keeping their secrets. The desert wind blows across their sides. Sand piles higher at their bases, covering steps, filling cracks, softening edges. The sun bakes the stone by day, the cool air chills it by night. Yet the shape endures, sharp against the horizon, patient as eternity. At dusk, the sky glows red and gold. Shadows stretch long across the desert floor. Travelers light their campfires, the smoke curling upward into the darkening air. They tell stories in low voices, stories of kings and curses, of treasures hidden beneath the stone, of mysteries too deep to solve. Above, the stars return. They shine on the pyramids as they have for thousands of years. Cold, steady, unchanged. The monuments lie beneath them, silent as always, waiting for another dawn, another century, another age of wonder. The centuries turn once more. The world enters a new age. Ships sail farther, maps grow wider, and curiosity leads travelers back to the Nile. Explorers stand at the base of the pyramids, their eyes lifted high. The stones rise above them, weathered but unbroken. Sand covers much of the lower levels, yet the peaks still cut sharply into the sky. They bring lanterns and ropes, hammers and chisels. For the first time in many ages, men step inside. The passages are narrow, cool, and silent. Their footsteps echo softly against the stone. The air smells of dust, dry and ancient. Torches flicker, casting long shadows on the walls. They walk slowly, their voices hushed, as though afraid to disturb the silence of thousands of years. Chambers are found, empty, hollow, quiet. Stone coffers lie still, their lids heavy and unmoving. Walls rise around them, plain and bare, holding their secrets close. The explorers search for treasures, but the pyramids yield little. The treasures, if they were ever here, are gone. What remains is silence, endless and heavy. Outside, the world is fascinated. Stories spread quickly, of hidden tunnels, of great chambers, of lost kings sleeping in eternal stone. Drawings are made, books are written, and the pyramids once again capture the wonder of distant lands. The desert, however, remains unchanged. The Nile still floods and recedes. Farmers still bend over their fields. Children still play at the water's edge. Life flows on, as it always has, beneath the gaze of the silent monuments. At night, the pyramids rest beneath the stars. Lanterns glow faintly at their entrances, small sparks against the endless dark. The explorers sleep at their camps, whispering of mysteries still hidden deep inside. And above them, the monuments wait, patient as ever, watching as time continues its slow, steady march. The modern age arrives. Trains cross deserts, steamships sail across seas, and scholars from every land gather on the banks of the Nile. They come with notebooks and cameras, with measuring rods and tools. And once more, the pyramids stand at the center of the world's attention. Archaeologists enter the passages with care. They light lanterns, their glow pushing back the ancient shadows. They measure each chamber, each stone, each passage carved deep into the heart of the pyramid. Every mark is recorded, every discovery written down. Dust rises as old blocks are shifted. The silence of thousands of years is disturbed by careful footsteps. Walls that once echoed with nothing now hear the quiet voices of men studying, sketching, wondering. Some chambers reveal fragments, broken jars, bits of pottery, scraps of ancient writing. Others remain empty, holding only the weight of time itself. Outside, crowds gather at the base. Tourists stare upward, shielding their eyes from the bright desert sun. They take photographs, their laughter drifting across the sand. The pyramids rise above them, unchanged, unmoved, as steady as the horizon. The desert wind still blows. It carries grains of sand against the stone, soft but endless. The sun still burns hot at noon, and the stars still shine cold at night. The Nile still floods and recedes, bringing life to the fields nearby. And through it all, the pyramids endure. They have seen empires rise and fall. They have seen gods worshipped, then forgotten. They have seen kings crowned, and kingdoms crumble. And yet, they remain. Silent. Patient. Eternal. At dusk, the last light of the sun paints them gold. Their shadows stretch across the desert, long and sharp. The air cools, the stars return, and the pyramids rest once more beneath the endless sky. History flows on. The world changes. But the pyramids stand. Silent witnesses to time. Guardians of memory. Monuments to eternity carved in stone. And so the story ends. With the river flowing. The desert whispering. And the pyramids watching quietly. As they always have. And always will.